I am Mark Ramsey. I am so excited to be talking to the one and only Tom Asacker, whose name I finally pronounced properly. Tom, am I right or am I right?
No, you're exactly right, Mark. What's it been, 5, 10 years?
It's it's not that hard a name. That's the funny part. Tom is the author of so many wonderful books, but his newest is most likely his best. It's called The Business of Belief. Here, I'm holding it up. Tom, you're welcome to hold yours up too. The Business of Belief. The subtitle, How the World's Best Marketers, Designers, Salespeople, Coaches, Fundraisers, Educators, Entrepreneurs, and Other Leaders Get Us to Believe.
Yes.
This is a terrific book, Tom.
Thank you, Mark.
Let's start with the obvious question, which is belief. Why?
Why belief? Interesting. Yeah. Mark, I make it my business to know why people do the things that they do. And I try to take the insights and help organizations and people improve their impact in the marketplace through those insights. And I have noticed over the years, the last maybe 2 to 5 years, that people aren't making decisions in the marketplace the way they used to. Now, let me try to explain. So go back 100 years, and I would call that the age of awareness. At that point, we had nothing. So all you had to do is make someone aware of a washing machine, a car, an air conditioner, a telephone, all these modern conveniences, packaged food, all of these things that we never had before, make us aware of it, and we gobble it up. Mm-hmm. Then we got into the 40s, 50s, 60s, where competition starts heating up and people start differentiating their products based on the features and quality of those products. Actual differentiation. That's what took Toyota from nothing to being one of the leading car brands, because they actually had a car that didn't break down. And that's what drove, they weren't driven by style. They were driven by an actual functional difference. Mm-hmm. And that drove a lot of those products back then, were those differentiations in functional performance. So I call that the age of understanding. If you made people aware and made them understand the difference, they bought it. Guess what? 8, 9 years ago, J.D. Powers said, there are no bad cars any longer. So to make someone aware and make them understand does nothing to drive their decision making, because they expect quality in the marketplace, right? They expect timely delivery or next day delivery. The expectations, the bar has been raised so high that now I believe we're in the age of belief. Awareness is not enough. Understanding is not enough. You have to understand how people create beliefs, personally relevant belief in something. That's how they make their decisions today.
Okay, so define belief for me.
Define belief. Belief is a strange mixture, mental construct, a personal construct of our perceptions of something and our desires of that thing. Once we develop a perception and a desire, then we look for information to validate that perception and desire. That's how we form our beliefs.
So you actually say in this book that we don't necessarily believe what is real, we make what we believe real, if I can paraphrase it.
Well, I mean, look at all the great debates that we have today about anything from global warming, overpopulation, the political debates. People believe in their point of view. And then there's someone else that believes just as strongly. And these are smart people. It's not like, well, I believe I'm really smart. You don't believe and you're dumb. So we believe what we desire to believe based on our awareness and our perceptions and our understanding of the world and our place in the world, our personal narrative.
Mm-hmm. Businesses, entrepreneurs, marketers, they're all looking for action from consumers. And the path that you outline in this book is desire leads to belief, leads to action. Can you walk through those steps?
Okay, let's see if I can find an example, because make no mistake, you're right. Action, behavior is the holy grail today. Not awareness, not understanding. I mean, listen, my dad, before he passed away, he smoked for years. I made him very aware of the fact that that was going to kill him. And I gave him a lot of information to make him understand that. But he did not change his actions or his behavior because he didn't desire to, right? So desire is what drives not only our search for information, but also our eventual decisions. I'm hard pressed for an example to drive you through this framework, but
that is the framework, right? That's what you're saying is it begins with what I, the consumer, desire. That leads to me having certain beliefs about the world around me as well as the marketplace, and only in the presence of that desire and those beliefs does action follow, right?
Well, motivation comes from desire. If there's no desire, there's no reason to act. So desire is in fact the reason to believe in something. This is a really difficult twist, linguistical trick that a lot of people don't understand. They think that the reason that people make decisions are the facts that they give them, the list of ingredients and all of that. That's not the reason why people make the decisions that they make. Why would somebody run their first 5K road race? If you say to them, what's the reason to believe in running that race? That confuses them. They'll say, what do you mean the reason to believe? I want to run it. The desire is the reason to believe. They'll figure out how to rationalize that desire after the motivation kicks in.
Now, what you're referring to is something that's common in marketing parlance, right? Because the phrase reasons to believe are kind of input elements to the marketing equation. When we have a new thing we want to sell, we ask ourselves, what are the reasons to believe? And usually they are functional things. Usually they are feature-based things, right? You're saying that those are superficial, especially in this day and age, and really the reason to believe is because I want to believe because I want it so bad.
Well, I wouldn't call those functional differentiators superficial. What they are permission to believe. Mm-hmm. I have my reason to believe, that's my desire. When you give me all that backup information, that gives me permission to move forward with that desire, whatever that desire happens to be. We do look for that before we take a step. We want to see, am I going to be safe, in control? Are other people okay with this? So that is the permission. It is not the reason. The reason is your desire.
Given that desire is at the root of all this, I'm just curious why the book is the business of belief rather than the business of desire.
Well, here's why. Because I've heard people say that they can get people to desire things through advertising, through marketing, through selling. And that's absolutely false. You can discover wants and desires, and you can bring what you do to life in a way that feeds those hungers, but you cannot create a desire in someone that doesn't have the desire. It just doesn't work that way. After Gandhi liberated India of British rule, somebody from the press corps asked him, now that you have all of this influence with the people, why don't you get them to stop smoking? He said, I can't do that. They want to smoke. I mean, brilliant, genius. You can only move people where they want to go, not where you think they should go.
The importance of that point shouldn't be lost on anybody, right? You can only move people where they want to go. We have an industry of companies, of businesses selling stuff to people, right? Stuff, products, services to people. And they're all asking the same question, which is, how do I sell my widget to more people? They're not necessarily asking the question, do people want to go to the destination I have in mind, right? So what is the solution for the marketer, for the business person, for the entrepreneur? Is it to say, well, let me focus on where that consumer wants to go first? Or is it to say, let me finagle my way to that consumer's desires with my widget that I desperately need to sell because I've got budgetary expectations this quarter?
Look at all the frustrations we're seeing in the marketplace with entrepreneurs, with organizations, is because people think that somehow we need more things, stuff, even apps. We don't need any more anything in this modern marketplace. What we do is we hunger for some things. We have some frustrations. We have desires. And the people who do best at feeding those are the ones that are going to get our business, our attention, our interest. See, desire precedes interest. To go back to the fact that there are these marketing constructs, the old marketing construct, the attention, interest, desire, action, the AIDA construct, that's obsolete. We have everything. Now it's get my attention, desire comes next. Okay, that's something I desire. Now let me dig into that to see if it interests me. Desire precedes interest today.
So how does the marketer, how does this business person effectively tap into those desires? You make a point in the book here at some point that it's about bringing people closer to their own desires is the way to move more merchandise, sell more stuff, if that's your aspiration as a business person. It's bringing people into tune with their own aspirations, wants, and desires.
Well, you can only move people. I mean, first of all, you move people slowly, right? You start with what people's beliefs and desires are today. You viscerally understand what those are. Then you move them slowly along a path to a destination that maybe they don't even fully understand or are aware of. But like Steve Jobs, he didn't say, let me go out and ask people if they want a phone without a keypad, right? But he was so deeply involved in that industry and the technology, he knew how to bring people along. Now, you notice it was still a phone, something you hold in your hand. It wasn't something you just stick in your ear, because that might have been moving people too quickly. You have to start with what people believe and desire right now as your basis for where you move them to. That was the big mistake that J.C. Penney made. I mean, when they first started this whole thing, that path that they were on, you know, great, noble pursuit. But they tried to move people from what people desired and believed right now, and then immediately take them to the end destination. There was no path to belief, and that's why they failed.
Well, let's go down that direction for a moment. Let's put ourselves in the position of J.C. Penney. Everybody, I think, knows that story. If you were there right now, I mean, how would you inch people down that path, given, well, obviously they've got to take a step back in order to take two forward. But how do you move people down that path who have been static for so many years with the brand as established as that?
All right, the first question to ask is, are these the customers that we want to serve? And can we be profitable at serving them? Can we be happy and profitable serving them? So if the organization can be happy and profitable servicing the customer, and that's what the customer wants, why are you trying to move them to a different path? That's the thing that I struggle with. It would be like all of a sudden tomorrow Macy's saying no more coupons, no more circulars. You know, why would they do that? And they are highly successful at what they do, and people seem to like it. We're not stupid. See, this is the thing about consumers. We delude ourselves, right? I know when that Macy's coupon comes out or that little circular, and everything's discounted. I wait for that. Right? We all do. We know what the game is, but we happen to like the game. There are people that like that. They say, okay, I feel good. I got a coupon. I just saved some money. That makes me feel good. So why take that feeling away if you can be profitable at it? Mm-hmm. That's the question to ask.
As the business person, business owner, entrepreneur, how do you design belief?
How do you design it? That's a good question. What you've got to do first is you have to discover it. All right. Insights are what drive all businesses forward. Anyone that's listening to this that's saying, wow, this is not true. Look, my customers are loyal to me and they're not jumping away and all that. You know what? People You know how people are, they're on autopilot most of the time. The only reason people are not drawn away from you is because they haven't been enticed by something more desirable. As soon as they do, they will jump. Look at the industries that are being destroyed, in the businesses. Because why? Because people, once they saw this thing that was much more desirable and somebody brought that to life, they said, okay, I'm going this direction now. This is what I want. And to imagine that they're not going to move away to this new desire, that's just very short-sighted. I mean, you're just putting your head in a hole because you don't want to see what's happening right in front of your eyes. Again, you don't want to believe because you don't desire to believe. You don't want to see the future because you don't desire the change that may be occurring.
You used the Steve Jobs example earlier, and what also characterizes Jobs was that he was the customer. I mean, he lived and breathed what he did because he wanted something which he wanted as a customer, understanding that others would want that too. That's a reflection of passion. Where does passion come into this mix? Passion on the part of the person who creates the new product, not just the person who's intending to consume it.
Well, I mean, first of all, passion is one of the greatest persuaders that there are. To move people to believe, you've got to exude passion in everything that you do. They can sense it, whether you're excited about what you're offering, and not just through your words, but through your design, through your offers, through your advertising. They can sense passion, and that moves them because, remember, they're evaluating what you do against a broad range of options today. You're not walking into anyone's office or throwing an ad out there and showing people things they have not seen before. If you are, then you might as well just go for awareness because they're just going to buy it anyway. If you get a car that gets 200 miles a gallon, just make them aware of it. They'll buy it. You don't have to get crazy. But if you're competing against a broad range of options, competitive options, then you've got to bring it to life. And passion is that way of bringing it to life.
It also seems to me that there's an element of humanity in that, right? Because, for passion to connect with someone else, for it to connect with desire and belief, there's an element of humanness in this. And that's different from old-fashioned madman salesmanship, is it not?
Well, I'm not talking, when I say passion, I'm not talking charisma. Right? I'm not talking being boisterous and loud, and I'm talking about doing things that says, I believe in this that much. You go into the car dealership and somebody says, yeah, I'm looking for a car. And you say, which one? They say, I like that one. You hand them the keys. You don't say, here, fill out all this paperwork. Let me go talk to the guy behind the curtain. Why? Because you believe not only in what you do, but you believe in that person that just walked through the door. And that changes everything when you have that level of belief in what you do and your belief in the people you do it for. Changes everything. What's interesting to me is that most people out there today are talking and writing about what's changing, right? I mean, but success in the marketplace is not about what's changing, it's about what doesn't change. And that's how people think and make decisions, how they behave, how they choose. Because, Mark, how many business people do you know, smart business people, that don't know what the internet is, what social media is, what mobile technology is? They all know what it is. They're aware of it and they understand it, right? So now it's, why don't they believe in moving forward with what's changing? That's the thing we have to get at the essence of. If we want people to change their behavior, we need to understand why they don't desire, why they don't believe, because they sure as heck are aware of and understand everything that's changing in the marketplace. These are really smart people running all these organizations.
A huge notion, a huge book. It's called The Business of Belief. The author is my friend, the one and only Tom Asacker. Tom, again, a terrific, terrific book. I hope a lot of people read it.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it. Thanks.